Hi, this is Uncommon Treasure. Today's topic is loaded. I saw a billionaire talk about how flexing luxury possessions is silly or even lame. I think it's all related to the quiet luxury trend. So I want to quickly elaborate on what that quiet luxury trend is and what looking rich actually means. So, disclaimer, by no means is my opinion the ultimate righteous, just, and accurate answer to this topic, but I just think it's worth talking about because it's very interesting to me. So, this billionaire called Chamath made a video recently saying how possessions are meaningless and people who flex luxury items are mid, not GOAT. He basically called everyone who flex luxury lame.
Possessions are bullshit. They're worthless. They're a sign of insecurity, and they're a sign of a rampant ego, and they're a sign of an unsettled mind. And that's okay if you're going to be a mid, but that's okay if you're going to be a goat.
Okay, so basically, he's above this now. He's above all these things people are chasing now. So he doesn't need to prove to anyone. Okay, got it. At first glance, everything he said was kind of true. Seems to be true at least. But is it really though? Funny enough, the billionaire Chamath was wearing a Loro Piana hoodie or sweater when he was making this video talking about how possession is silly. Mind you, that sweater cost about $2,400 before tax. Granted, that $2,000 hoodie to him is more like a Gap hoodie for us. Probably even less. Now let's go back to the quiet luxury trend. So I think quiet luxury as a term for fashion choices or style choice has always existed, but it was made popular as a trend in the past 7, 8 years-ish. I believe largely contributed to a show called Succession, where most people who have no access to an ultra rich lifestyle want to take a glimpse of what that lifestyle looks like. Because people are curious, The probing into the lives of the ultra rich always have an audience because people are curious. Just the same reason why Becca Bloom, the controversial TikToker, was made famous quickly. There was this popular belief that the ultra rich, especially the old money rich, they do not like to flex their wealth. At the same time, the fashion industry also shows a trend that they are trying to avoid being seen as loud. And that's also one of the reasons why brands like Versace or Gucci lost their popularity while brands like The Row gained their popularity and became fashionable. And this is a brand who tries very hard to hide their logo placement on their pieces. And it's almost like an insider secret. If you wear the row and you bump into someone else who knows, and it becomes like exclusive insider secret to confirm each other that you have good taste. Like it's almost like an entry ticket to good taste. Meanwhile, the logos and large branding names are seen as embarrassing or frowned upon. The Row being one of the more popular quiet luxury brands, along with many other brands like Loro Piana, they definitely come with extra dollar signs. You can probably find something very similar at J. Crew, for example, for maybe 5% of the price. And to be very honest, I don't think their quality is 100 times better than that of J. Crew. So this is where things get interesting. If the philosophy behind quiet luxury is to not be seen as rich, then this trend should literally be called the quiet trend, not the quiet luxury trend, right? I remember in the movie Titanic, the old money group always kind of secretly discriminate towards the one new money lady who's less demure, less discreet about her wealth, less sensitive to the social etiquette and the status situation.
Look, here comes that vulgar brown woman. Quickly, get up before she sits with us. Hello, girls. I was hoping I'd catch you at tea. We're awfully sorry you missed it.
Possessions are bullshit. They're worthless. They're a sign of insecurity, and they're a sign of a rampant ego, and they're a sign of an unsettled mind.
Nothing has changed since then. It's always about social signaling. Although the movie was largely a fiction, I think it accurately captured some of the sentiments towards the so-called new money. And it's the same game. It's the same game where the early rich establish a standard or qualifications for what good taste looks like. And there are more people below them who would worship and happily adopt this trend and try to copy what the ultra rich are wearing out of the desire to blend in or to look similar to one of them, not out of the genuine love for a certain outfit, a certain look that express who they are. Otherwise, why would the quiet luxury or the old money style become a trend? Even most of us aren't one of them. You can find a million fashion style influencers or bloggers telling you how to look rich on a budget or how to do the quiet luxury trend without the quiet luxury price tag. To be very clear, I'm not against the quiet luxury. I'm not against the maximalism. I'm not against any specific styles. It just makes me a little uncomfortable that the ultra rich or the highest social status group of people always get to decide what's supposed to be the fashion trend or what's supposed to be the definition of good taste, and everyone else follows and prioritize looking rich or copying what the ultra rich are wearing instead of finding something that, oh, this feels like me or this looks like me when it comes to their fashion choices. The core of the billionaire making the video stating that possessions are silly is basically the rich trying to separate themselves from the rest of the public, right? That's why I'm perplexed by this blind admiration towards the ultra rich, saying that, oh, because they are already rich, especially the old money, they don't need to prove anything to anyone, so therefore they don't flex. That's not true at all. They just flex at a higher level, in a different level, different way. And they don't flex to people they don't think matter. They don't care. Well, I cannot deny the fact that fashion has historically been only a game exclusively for the wealthy, right? Most people in the past, they struggled to have enough food, clean water, a good shelter, and basic dignity. And outside of that, they barely have any time and energy and money to think about, like, oh, do I look good in this outfit today? What material, what fabric am I getting to make this extra nice clothes? You know, so I would agree that a big part of fashion is actually intertwined with flexing wealth. But let's not forget that because of the development of manufacture, fashion choices have been made much cheaper in modern times for normal people. So there are plenty of people nowadays afford to have fun in fashion without breaking the bank. In other words, the part that's not flexing wealth, the color, the form, the style choices, and self-expression, all the fun stuff that's also related to fashion can also be easily achieved nowadays without looking rich, right? And I think this has genuinely let people participate in the aesthetic game instead of the looking rich game. The way that these really rich people, high social status people, gatekeep ordinary people from the definition, the power to define what good taste is not only through money, the money you have to pay, right? It's also through the walls they have built up, made through the significant historic events or cultural or political or movements that happened in the past that they just throw in randomly in the conversation. that only the insiders, the intelligent and educated would know. And outsiders are not allowed to enjoy as much, and therefore you are not part of them. And you are being excluded from this high social class group. So there is this very uncomfortable and strong correlation between the money and the powerful equals the taste. And I think it's like subconsciously everyone's following it. I also think that some designers would intentionally try to break it, like Demna for Balenciaga. He did something that's ugly and even ridiculous, intentionally trying to break the correlation between the money equals taste. And I think it's definitely something significant. So there are people who wear big logos, trying to separate themselves from the rest who can't afford it, and there are people who are more educated and intelligent and try to separate themselves from people who don't know it. And there are the people who's the ultra rich who seem to define what luxury or taste should be like, claiming that the first two layers are lame. I don't think anyone could be fully liberated from this social signaling ladder game, but at least after I have made myself aware of what's going on, I can kind of ignore what the standards should be and just pick my own game. So what do you guys think? Any thoughts? Please leave me a comment in the comment section and I'll see you next time. Bye.